Let's bring in Srikanth Kondapalli, who's a professor of Chinese studies at the Jawaharlal Nehru University. Welcome to you, Professor. Explain for us why this is a contentious issue about who becomes the successor to the Dalai Lama and why China wants to have a say in that.
Well, the Dalai Lama is the god and the king for the Tibetans. Since the 15th century, when the Dalai Lama institution was instituted by the Mongolians in 1578. So since he is the god and the king, this is very significant because it is estimated that over 97% of the Tibetans living in Tibet and almost 100% of those living abroad as diaspora, they have faith in him, and hence this becomes a problematic for China, which has, in the 17-point agreement in 1951, they have promised autonomy for Tibet, but they have reneged that promise. And in 1959, as you mentioned, the Dalai Lama had made a flight to India. Since then, he has been living here. And so the succession, or the eminence, as the Tibetans would call, of the 15th Dalai Lama, after the current 14th Dalai Lama passes away, that issue has become very significant because this is the power center for the Tibetans. And in 2011, September, the Dalai Lama decided to give away the temporal powers to the Sikyong, or the prime minister in exile, who is elected by the Tibetan diaspora. And 3 successive elections have been conducted so far. And almost about 80-85% of the people participated in these elections, which suggests to the broad-based nature of the Dalai Lama's plan to part with the temporal powers, the kingly powers, to the Sikyong. And hence now this has been broad-based in terms of the institution as such. So currently the Dalai Lama is only the god, even though he prorogues, convenes the Kashag, the cabinet, and the parliament in exile in Dharamshala. And hence the Chinese have been mentioning that they will go by a golden urn process of selecting the 15th Dalai Lama, as they did for the 11th Pancham Lama in 1995. So this has become very contentious.
Now, my understanding of it, correct me if I'm wrong, is the Dalai Lama can choose the body into which the reincarnation will be, and the current Dalai Lama has suggested that might be a mischievous blonde woman. He's also suggested, in contrast to that there may be no reincarnation. At this point, is the Dalai Lama trolling the Chinese government?
Well, the Dalai Lama had said many things. One, he said he will abolish the institution of the Dalai Lama. At another time, he said the next Dalai Lama would be a woman. So he brought in the gender-related issues in the Tibetan community. He had introduced elections, thus broad-basing the Tibetan diaspora. Fourthly, he had also mentioned that he will take care of the next Dalai Lama's name. Traditionally, except in 11th and 12th centuries, when the golden urn process has been selected as a lottery system to pick up the names of the next Dalai Lama. Nevertheless, traditionally, the previous Dalai Lama had a major role in selecting his successor. And hence, we have different views regarding this. But on July 6th this year, he will be making his announcement regarding his successor. So that is, in a way, challenging China and its golden urn process, because the 11th Pancham Lama that he had anointed has been under house arrest by the Chinese, and they appointed through a golden urn process their own Pancham Lama, who is now the vice president of CPPCC, China People's Political Consultative Conference, which is a kind of advisory body. And he's also the vice president of the Buddhist Association in China, which means that Communist Party wants to control the succession issue, and hence the tussle between the two sides.
Yeah, it sounds like an old-fashioned power struggle. Srikanth, thank you so much for your time. Professor Srikanth Kondapalli from Jawaharlal Nehru University.
Thank you.